Great.
Thank you so much, and welcome to our Maryland Commission on LGBTQIA+ Affairs Commission meeting for November. I think there's some kind of background noise, maybe.
Mute myself and maybe that'll fix it.
I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Does anybody else hear what sounds like a fireplace? I don't know what's going on. It probably is something on my end, I suppose. Anyways, happy Monday evening to everyone. And welcome to any members of the public. The Maryland Open Meetings Act allows members of the public to observe our commission meetings. We do ask, please, that you keep any microphones muted and your video off for the duration of the meeting. Do not use the chat or disrupt the meeting in any way. All commissioners and staff, please keep your microphones muted when not speaking. Raise your hands physically or by using the raise hand feature to be called on. Please address people by commissioner and then last name, or chair, vice chair, last name. We ask everyone to include your pronouns after your name on Zoom. ASL and CART live captioning are available upon request and are provided by the Office on Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Please do contact our director, Jeremy Browning, at least 1 week prior to meetings in order for any accommodation requests, and his email will be in the chat. How to update your name and add your pronouns in Zoom. You'll click on Participants, which is located on the bottom toolbar. Find your name in the list, hover over your name and click on More. Then select Rename. You can update your name and your pronouns and then select Rename to save. You can verify the change did occur in the participants list. More information on how to update and how to save your name and your pronouns in your Zoom profile going forward. And those can be found in the link that Director Browning has placed into the chat. Our meeting guidelines, the purpose of these is to create a safe, positive, and inclusive environment for the commission, all of our participants, our staff, and the public, creating a safe space for a diversity of contributors, thoughts, and also ideas. We ask folks to assume positive intent on the part of the commissioners, moderators, participants, and staff, and also own your impact. Do not use any transphobic, homophobic, biphobic, misogynist, xenophobic, racist, anti-Black, ableist, ageist, or foul language. Misgendering, name-calling, and insults will not be allowed. Please do listen actively, allowing others to complete their thoughts, listening to listen and not listening to respond. We ask folks to default to both and thinking instead of either or thinking. Great, and then we'll go ahead with our roll call. I know Vice Chair Pease will be coming a little bit late, so I'll skip them for the moment. Commissioner Bell.
Present. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can, yes.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, great. Commissioner Bryan?
Yeah.
Commissioner Caballero?
Commissioner Caballero will be joining by phone shortly.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Director Browning. Commissioner Deere?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Doan?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Dunn? Okay, I see a thumbs up from Commissioner Dunn. Commissioner Fox? I don't believe Commissioner Fox has joined yet. Commissioner Hollywood, I believe, is not available. Commissioner Kennedy?
Present.
Wonderful. Commissioner Martin? I don't believe Commissioner Martin has joined yet. Commissioner Nira,
Here.
wonderful. Commissioner Novak,
Here.
great. Commissioner Russell,
Here.
excellent. Commissioner Stern,
Here.
thank you. Commissioner Tulin,
Here.
great. Commissioner Bolivar, I think is not actually able to attend this time. And then Commissioner Chung Sun. I don't believe
They're
has joined
joining.
us.
They're joining right now.
Yeah, okay, he's joining right now. Commissioner Chung Sun. They're just calling roll.
This is Lisa and Jen. If I was just called, I am present, as I just heard my name.
Yes, you were. Thank you so much. You arrived just in time. Okay, great. A brief review of our voting procedures. This is relevant for desktop Zoom. It'll be a slightly different process if you're on your phone. So you'll utilize the React button on the bottom. It's got a heart. You'll click that, and then you can select either the green check mark or the red X. In order, the green check mark will indicate a yay or yes vote. The red X will constitute a no or nay vote. And then you can abstain from either to abstain from a vote. Okay, and should I turn it over to you, Director Browning, to explain the
Yeah.
calendar?
So this so later on, yes, we're gonna have the consent calendar, but we can approve the consent calendar and the items on it during that item. But since Vice Chair MPs is coming late, we can amend this agenda to remove section 4, Part B. But for the consent calendar, we can approve that before voting on it during agenda item 5.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Director Browning. So we'll go ahead and vote to approve the agenda. And if there are any, or I'm entertaining motions.
I move we accept the agenda.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bryan. Do we have a second?
Second.
I believe that was Commissioner Novak.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and vote. Can Fletcher's vote with the green check mark to indicate yes or yay, the red X for no or nay, and to abstain, you'll select neither. Okay, I believe almost everybody has reflected a vote. Okay, great. We have a unanimous vote. And then the second part is if everyone can please go through and clear out your votes. So you have a blank slate for our next vote. Okay, looks like almost everyone has been able to clear out their check marks. Great. And we will not have a vice chair report this time, and my chair report will be somewhat brief. Congratulations to Southern Maryland Pride, or Pride Southern Maryland, who had their Pride event yesterday. I'm a little bit tired today because I was there, and it was a lovely event, but a bit of driving for me. So Pride, that's kind of wrapping up our Pride season, and just want to also note that it is and remains to be such an intense time for our community. I know that unfortunately, the attacks on our community, and particularly the trans community, and particularly our intersectional communities, such as our immigrant trans communities, our disabled trans communities, and our Black and Brown trans communities, and the overlaps in between, remain. We are doing, all of us, I know, everything that we can possibly be doing, and hopefully also trying to take as good care as we can of ourselves and one another through this work. It will unfortunately be a long haul. This is not a marathon, or well, it will be a marathon, excuse me, and not a sprint. So we need to be extra mindful. I know we have some very experienced organizers in the room, folks who've been doing this work for many years, but just as the intensity level continues to ramp up, I want to take some time to remind everyone to be mindful, to not overextend, because it's very easy to do so as this work is unrelenting at this time. So just an extra encouragement and reminder to take some time and to find rest where you can, to take breaks from the news as you can, because the entire focus from this federal administration and their collaborators are to overwhelm us. And so we can subvert that by trying to, again, care for ourselves. And I know all of you are doing this work on a volunteer basis, with the exception of our amazing director and our amazing special assistant here. But for those of you, who are in this space on a volunteer basis, and also providing so many of your own volunteer hours to this work in your other capacities, please do, think about rest. And otherwise, we did have some good news from SCOTUS, who will not be taking up the Obergefell case. We did have some very bad news for the trans community in regards to the passport case with the ACLU, with Orr v. Trump, where we will no longer have access to an accurate gender marker on passports for those trans community members who are seeking to make a change to a passport or secure a passport at this time, who do not already hold one. So that is bad news, but we do encourage folks to make sure that you secure a passport. It is important to have that. Unfortunately, in case we as trans people need to leave the country. So I do encourage people, even if it is inaccurate, to secure a passport and to have either a friend or a loved one take a look at it when it arrives, if you do not wish to see it, if it's incorrect and that is troubling for you, but to take the steps to secure a passport, as it is so important. And I'll turn it over to our director, Browning, for the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Blender. So I want to start today. I know, so we've been facing significant headwinds and challenges. And one of the things I've been trying to do is focus on where we do have control. And right now, one of our primary focuses has been on the community needs assessment, which is it opened on October 1st and it remains open until December 1st. And I'm excited to share that we have nearly 900 responses. And while Commissioner Hollywood is not here, I think everyone knows, but Commissioner Hollywood is a administrator and researcher at UMES and was kind enough to use their IRB, put it through their internal review board as like an official study. And has been updating us daily on the number of responses. So very grateful for her support and for everyone's help that contributed to this. So if you have not taken it, please take it. If please continue to help us share it via social media, email. I will share again this week the all the flyers and the sample language so that you can share it within your communities. We want to try to get at least our goal is at least 1,000, but the more the better. So we hope to have as many responses as possible. We've handed out flyers at all the fall Pride events. We've gone to queer and trans affirming places in Baltimore City and elsewhere, and so we've really done a hard push to get this out. So thanks for everyone's efforts on that. We're looking forward to having that data, which will help us better advocate for the community. The other thing, just a quick note, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so appreciate our veterans on the commission, and thank you for all your sacrifice and all you've done. That's Commissioner Nira and Commissioner Caballero. I don't think anybody else is a veteran, but if I missed you, I apologize. So state offices will be closed tomorrow and reopen on Wednesday. The next item, we have a couple slides for these next couple items. There's several events happening to honor Transgender Day of Remembrance. Chair Blender was kind enough to start a list. There may be a few missing here. So these are the events that we are aware of at this time. If you know of other events that we should add to this list, feel free to either email them to me or drop them in the chat. I am planning to attend the flag raising on November 17th. If you are planning on attending any of these events and you'd like to represent the commission, just let Chair Blender and I know. There's certainly many events happening on November 20th, which is the actual day, but there's several events happening on or around the day as well. Chair Blender, is there anything that you'd like to add about Transgender Day of Remembrance?
I don't believe so. I guess I did want to just share that I know, sometimes people avoid these events because they feel it might be intense time or too much. And I do want to note that there are significant efforts for a few of the events to ensure that people are leaning into joy and leaning into celebration of trans life at the same time as, recognizing our community members. So I do, just want to note that. And I think it is important, for our community to gather, not just around death and loss of life, but also to celebrate and to be together with one another, regardless of the event. So I think I would encourage folks to come out and share in community. It is all too easy to find folks isolating at this time with all the intensity that's going on. So please, do seek out the events that are leaning into trans joy and celebration, of trans life at this time.
Thank you, Chair Blender. Yeah, so again, if you know of other events, let us know and we'll share this list after the meeting. And then just our standing review of the commission mandates. Our primary purpose is to assess the challenges facing the community, hence the community needs assessment that we're very excited about. Not going to go through the whole list, but we're obviously, one of the big things is offering testimony before legislative administrative bodies. So we are preparing for the upcoming legislative session that starts in January. As always, if you have any questions about what the commission was created to do, don't hesitate to reach out. And that concludes my report. And then the next item now is the consent calendar. So I know this is a new thing, and I offered to walk us through it. So the consent calendar is for things that generally don't that we don't anticipate will have much discussion, like approving the minutes, approving like meeting dates, perhaps a sign-on letter. If you think that that you'd like to discuss something, or you noticed something that needs to be corrected in the minutes, before we approve the consent calendar, we just will remove that off and have a discussion after the vote for the consent calendar. So we're just trying to find, we're always trying to find ways to make our meetings more efficient, move faster, but by all means, this is not meant to limit discussion. So if you feel that you would like to discuss any of the items on here before we approve them, you just say, hey, I'd like to discuss this, and we'll pull it from the consent calendar. Before I hand it back over to Chair Blender, does anybody have any questions about the consent calendar or how we're using it? All right, well, hearing none, I'll hand it back over to Chair Blender.
Thank you so much, Director Browning. Wonderful. So the consent calendar will involve the approval of the September 8th Commission meeting, the 2026 meeting dates, and the sign-on for Maryland Protections for Providers and Patients. I will entertain motions to approve the consent calendar.
This is Lisa and Jen. I so move.
Thank you so much. Do I have a second?
Before you move to the second, and
Oh.
know that Commissioner Caballero is not here, who is our parliamentarian, but was it, and maybe Commissioner Nera can answer this. But I think we may want to ask before asking for motions if any item should be removed. Would that be the proper order?
Well, I just keep
Commissioner
on. Director Browning, to be honest with you, I've never been in a board meeting where they've used a consent agenda or a consent docket like this. But I would say, I would lean towards what you just said, is to see if there's any item that anyone feels should be removed. And then have that discussion, and then a motion to approve the rest of the consent calendar. Because otherwise what's going to wind up happening is you get a motion to accept the consent calendar, then you're going to have the discussion to move something, and then you're going to have to amend it and accept it.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Nera, and Commissioner Bell. I appreciate that guidance from the chat as well, and your expertise. Wonderful. So we'll go ahead and ask if anyone, I will go ahead and ask if anyone would recommend any items for removal. Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
This is Lisa and Jen. So moved again.
Thank you so much. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank
So
you
I'm
so
not-
much, Commissioner Bell. I guess, and then we're still asking for any discussion at this point. Okay, wonderful. Any discussion? Thank you all for also moving along with us as we're learning. All right, seeing none, then we'll go ahead and place our votes. To vote yes, you'll use the green check mark. And no, the red X. To abstain, no selection. Okay, it looks like we have a unanimous consent.
Did yes, okay. That's it.
Wonderful. And if everyone can go ahead and remove their votes so we have a clean slate for the next vote. We really appreciate that. I think we have almost a clean slate. There's just a couple folks who haven't removed their votes. Commissioner Chung-Sun, if you can go ahead and clear your selection. Welcome, Vice Chair Pease. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Director Browning, but Commissioner Chung-Sun, if you can clear out your vote from last time, as we really want to make sure we have a clean slate going into the next topic. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll keep an eye on that before we go to a vote. This is our annual meeting. I see Commissioner Fox is also joining us. But this is our November meeting, and our bylaws dictate that this is the meeting where the chair, where the commission elects their chair and vice chair. One of the unique things about our commission is that in the legislation, it states that the chair and vice chair are elected annually by the commission, not appointed by the governor or somebody else in state government. And our bylaws dictate that that occurs at our November meeting. So in the past, or just as in the past, the candidates will be given 2 minutes to share about their vision for the role, their background, their experience. And again, this is for the calendar year 2026, so starting January 1st till December 31st of 2026. So we'll start with chair. No one else indicated that they were interested in serving as chair outside of our current chair, Chair Blender. If you are interested, you can let us know now as well. But I will give the floor to Chair Blender. I guess I can set a timer on my phone, a stopwatch on my phone, perhaps. So you can go ahead and begin when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Director Browning. It has been an honor to serve as your chair, and I would be happy to continue to offer that to this commission if you all feel so inclined. And I really appreciate, all of the collaboration, all of y'all's hard work. Every single member of this commission offers such a valuable and important insight. We have been tested, certainly within this last year, and everyone has done such an amazing job of sticking together as a commission. I couldn't be more proud, to serve as the chair of this body in light of, that collaboration. And we're, as mentioned before in my report, we're heading into, continued very difficult times. So to have everyone's support, both for myself and then for all of each other, has been really powerful to witness. And I don't know that I have anything else to say. So I just really appreciate working with you all. And again, if you're so moved, I would be happy to continue this role.
Thank you, Chair Blender. Is anybody else interested in serving as chair? All right. Well, hearing none, I'll conduct the vote here. So, Commissioner Chung Sun, if you're able to clear your green check. All right, so we may have they may have had to step away, but and we'll try to get a verbal yes or no, otherwise we'll consider it an abstention. Okay, so go ahead and use the green check for yay, red X for no, and leave it blank if you wish to abstain. Looks like we're waiting for maybe one more. And as Commissioner Chung Sun, are you with us?
Yes,
Okay,
I just cleared and then re-put up my voting
perfect.
check mark.
It is
Apologies.
unanimous to approve Chair Blinder as chair for 2026. Congratulations.
Thank you
So
so much.
if you're able to clear your votes, and then up next we will hear from Vice Chair MPs, and if anybody else is interested in the Vice Chair role, you will also be given 2 minutes.
Great.
All right, floor is yours.
Nice. Well, thank you all for being here, and my apologies for being a bit late today, as my clinical day is also Monday, so timing. Wanted to get back to be able to yeah, be here and present with you all today. So thank you for your flexibility. Yes, so I was just thinking about this coming into this meeting. I gave a talk to some undergraduates today about social justice work and about advocacy that we do in the state, and actually got to highlight a lot of the incredible work that we've all gotten to do collaboratively over my time here and over my term as vice chair this year. And a big theme of that talk was around the idea of love and how the work that we do is in so many ways an extension of the love that we have for one another and for our communities. And it is just so profoundly special, truly one of the great honors of my professional life to have gotten to serve as your vice chair over the last year. And I would be honored for the opportunity to do it again as we continue to explore together the ways that we can actualize our love for our communities through structural change, through advocacy, through the ways that we reach out to folks and support them through what are, to understate things, some incredibly trying times. I know that the support that this commission and the folks within it have given me has been so profound in providing me hope and providing me energy to continue in this work. And again, if you are so moved, I would be grateful for the opportunity to continue to get to serve you all and to serve our broader communities in this role, continuing in the research projects that we have going on, the advocacy projects that we have going on, the collaborations that we're continuing to build across the state, and continuing to offer my expertise in those roles. So I'll leave it at that because I know we have a lot of business to get to today, but thank you all for being here and for being part of my world in this. And I hope that I've added to your world in some way too in this role.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pease. Last call for anybody interested in serving as vice chair.
This is Lisa and Jen. Who has already nominated themselves?
No, there was no one else besides Vice Chair Pease. All right, and then if you looks like Commissioner Dunn, if you're able to clear your check mark, I know you're in transit. Thank you. All right, so to vote in favor of Vice Chair Pease, the green check, X for no, and no vote for abstention. We're just waiting for a couple more votes. Commissioner Kennedy?
I am having trouble. I'm trying to vote yes.
Okay, great. Well, we'll take the verbal
There we go.
as well. All right, congratulations, Vice Chair Pease, for 2026. So thank you all for letting me lead this part of the meeting. And just remember to uncheck the green marks for the next one. And just want to give my personal gratitude to both Chair Blinder and Vice Chair Pease for the incredible job they've done this last year. And I very much looking forward to continue working with you both next year. All right, I'll hand it back over to Chair Blinder for our next agenda item.
Thank you so much, Director Browning, and congratulations, Vice Chair Pease. Very much looking forward to tackling all that's going to come at us with you, and then also with this amazing commission. Couldn't be more thrilled to have you all in the room with us and your expertise offered as we're navigating these really difficult waters together. So thank you. Our next discussion is around our fiscal sponsor potentiality. Director Browning, I thought I had a note that you might lead this section. Is that correct? Or
Yes, I'm happy to give an overview.
okay.
So this opportunity was actually brought to us by, sorry, someone's rejoining. I know some folks are having some issues with internet. So this opportunity was actually brought to us by Commissioner Chung Sun, who I believe is on the board of this organization. So I want to make sure there's full transparency. But this organization actually exists to support other orgs as a fiscal sponsor. So in the meeting materials, I attached the frequently asked questions. What we're proposing today, and this has been something that's been discussed in the development meeting. We've had a lot of conversations, even at our retreat, about our desire to have an affiliated foundation to support the commission. So this would be sort of like a stopgap before we're able to get that. So essentially, what I would be looking for or from the commission today is if the commission is comfortable moving forward with this, that I would complete the application, to see if we would be accepted. So essentially, the SPM Disability Justice Fund, acts as the fiscal sponsor. They can even they have two models. One is if you have a bank account, and one is if you don't. So we don't have a bank account. If without a bank account, the fee is 8%. Or I'm sorry, without a bank account, the fee is 10%. If you already have a bank account, the fee is 8%. Those are very reasonable fees for a fiscal sponsor. I also had a conversation with ethics to understand how the commission would be able to assist in fundraising, and as long as you're not using your status as a commissioner to raise money, that's okay. So if you were just to share a link on your personal page but not reference your service on the commission, that's okay. So if this does happen, I will get even more clarification to make sure that we're all in line with ethics and all that. So that's just kind of a quick overview of what this discussion is. Again, so if this were approved today, it would simply be for me to submit the application. Then they would have to review it and approve it. That's what we're discussing today.
Thank you so much, Director Browning. And please refresh my memory. Are we intending to take a vote on this tonight if our discussion proceeds accordingly?
Yes, and then if the commission is ready, if not, we can, or there are more questions, we can gather more information and we can bring it up at the next meeting. So, but if there's consensus to move forward, yeah, that would be what we're looking for.
Commissioner Russell?
Thank you, Chair Blender. I just wanted to quickly ask to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. I understand how the fiscal sponsor would act in terms of, holding funds and doing, whatever reporting is necessary. But is this is the idea to have them manage whatever funds are raised by the commission until such a time that the commission is ready to use those funds, and or until the commission has its own nonprofit arm set up?
So I think, to answer your question, I think the second part of your question, I think we would use it until we had, I mean, really it's up to the General Assembly whether they would approve a bill to allow us to create an affiliated foundation. So I mean, there are several other in the state. I think we could get it. It's always just about capacity during the legislative session. So it may take a couple of cycles to get it. And then I think the other part of your question is how are the funds used? So we would not have to wait till we had another nonprofit. From my meeting with them, and if Commissioner Chung-Sun has anything to add, they're sort of hands off on, or they're not micromanaging how we would be using the funds, as long as it doesn't violate anything that a 501c3 could use funds for. That if we wanted to use it for an event, we could do it for that. If we wanted to use it to support outreach for a survey or something, it could be used for that. So it's really kind of up to us how the funds would be used.
Okay, thanks. Understood. So just like procedurally, if the commission approved, a certain type of use for funds that are available, the commission would vote to approve that, and then you, Director Browning, would work the details to make that happen, essentially.
Correct. And
okay.
The development committee would be charged with sort of, handling the the process of, what are we trying to raise money for, and then, how are we going to use it? And they would bring that to the full commission to approve.
Okay, gotcha. Great. Thank you.
Vice Chair Pease.
Yeah, I guess just as a follow-up question to that, Director Browning, as you're comfortable sharing, how do you feel about it? Like, in terms of, I imagine doing the application, we're essentially giving you a task here. Like, does this arrangement feel on the whole or this application feel on the whole as a good thing from your perspective in terms of taking on that for you?
Yes, thank you for that question. And one of the challenging things I think has been is that while we are able to accept donations, grants, sponsors, as a state agency, and it goes into a special fund that is not basically we're not part of the it would be exempt from the where any money not used goes back into the general fund. But the challenge is a lot of folks who would be donating, rely on the tax receipt, and we're not able to provide that as a government agency. So and it's also a bit cumbersome. There's no one-click way to donate. And we know right now, it's really, communities supporting each other. And this just makes it a lot easier for different opportunities of support. So many of you work with other nonprofits or on boards of other nonprofits. They have a lot more flexibility in how they raise money. So I see this as an opportunity to help, support our financial needs. The commission, we have a very razor thin operating budget outside of salaries and benefits and all that. I want to say, don't quote me on this exact number, but it was around, for next fiscal year, it's around $7,000, which, that pays for any like subscriptions that we have, cell phones, mileage, our lunch for our in-person meeting, any like professional services, like if we have interpreters at our meetings. So it's a very, very lean budget. So I think any way that we can, have more financial support is a good thing. So yeah, I appreciate that question. Commissioner Russell?
Thank you. Again, I just for clarity, because I think I know the answer to this, but when you were talking earlier about individual commissioners, needing to be careful about soliciting donations or trying to raise funds, that does not apply to the commission as a whole. For example, if we develop communication channels or social media, the commission could post to do that, correct?
So I don't think the commission is going to be able to post it, but I can, because I did ask. I said, "Well, could we put a donation button like on the website?" And they said no. So, again, this is not a perfect system. That's why we really want the affiliated foundation where, we're able to, staff and commissioners are able to solicit donations. That it's, from my understanding, we would be able to have direct to a donation link with the affiliated foundation, but yeah, so it's not, we still want that affiliated foundation.
Gotcha. Understood. Thanks.
The other thing I think it's important to know, I don't think there's any harm for the commission to explore this, and I can do the application. And if it ends up seeming to not work for us, we're just out the time of submitting the application and this discussion, and we can explore other opportunities. But Commissioner Bryan?
Question. So I hold a bake sale and I raised $10,000. Yeah, we wish. But what would happen then? I turn that over to who?
So if we had this partnership, you could turn it over to them. If you would get a tax receipt. If you are not worried about a tax receipt, it could be donated directly to the state right now, as is.
Sorry, directed to SPM?
No, if you had $10,000, just for a hypothetical, that you wanted to use to support the commission, you could write a check to the state, and I wouldn't touch it. It would go through the governor's office of financial administration.
Oh,
It would hold it in a special account for us, and we wouldn't be charged like a sort of a service fee of 8 or 10%. Now, if maybe it's something, say you were selling, or I don't know, I guess you can't sell stuff. Say there was I'm trying to think of an example. You were asking your people in your community to give $25 each to support the commission, and we provided an online link through the SPM Disability Justice Fund. then that made it accessible for them to easily donate, get a tax receipt, and then that money would go to us. So it's just sort of, it just depends on like where the money is coming from. But and
Okay.
3.5 years, no one's offered to give us any money, so we haven't had that issue yet. But um, um, but yeah, we could.
Okay, here's another one. I attend a free grandma hugs meeting. I can't sit at their table with my little cup there saying, drop in a quarter for the Maryland Commission on LGBTQ plus affairs.
I think the idea for the SPM Disability Justice Fund is that there would be a link. So I guess if you were gathering, change and whatever, you could then make the donation yourself online. But it wouldn't be easy to kind of take cash. I don't think this is, I think, more of a electronic or check donation support. But if someone gave you, if you collected $20 and you said, I'm going to give that to the commission, you can then, go online and make the donation.
Gotcha. So they'd rather have Bitcoin.
I don't know if it's Bitcoin, but probably, a debit or credit card or something.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions or concerns? Just one note, Commissioner Fox, are you able to clear out your vote from the previous voting process? And then I would entertain a motion to proceed with the application process if folks would like to offer such a motion.
This is Lisa and Jen. I would, but I feel like I have a conflict.
Understood. Commissioner Fox?
So moved.
Thank you so much.
Unapologetically.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Bryan. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we can go ahead and take a vote. And then you'll select the green check mark to vote yay or yes, the red X to vote no or nay, and to abstain, you'll select no emojis. All right. Commissioner Chung-Sun, are you abstaining from the vote? Yes. I didn't hear so, but I think that is what has occurred. Okay. Okay, wonderful. This has passed. If folks can go ahead and click and clear out your votes, that would be wonderful. So we can move to our next items. Thank you all so much. Excellent. Director Browning, are you taking this one or should we bump it for now?
No, I think Vice Chair Pease, as the Vice Chair of the Policy Committee, would you want to lead this section in Commissioner Caballero's absence?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. So the policy committee has been meeting to discuss our 2026 legislative priorities as we get closer to, the legislative session starting in January. The commission has already approved preliminary priorities back in the, gosh, is it September? Is that what 2 months ago was? Wow, time is silly and moves in mysterious ways. Anyway, so today we have for you, we've continued to have these conversations trying to anticipate what may or may not be coming up in the upcoming legislative session, but as currently legislative offices are in the middle of bill drafting and that type of thing, we really don't know, what is going to come up and what we're still kind of waiting to see what the pre-files will be. And of course, during the legislative session itself, we'll be continuing to talk about what we're seeing come up and what bills the commission wants to spend time supporting or resisting through our advocacy work. So today for you, we have two updates potentially to the favorable bills to watch, which is to say, if you recall the document and Director Browning just put it in the chat, we have favorable bills, which are bills that we have supported previously, as well as new policies that the commission is prioritizing for its advocacy efforts. And so a lot of those are going to look very familiar to you. And then we also have a favorable bills to watch section, which are bills that we believe will have impacts that are particularly relevant for LGBTQIA plus communities in the state. And at the same time, they don't fall under that we're watching them, we're tracking them to see where they're at in the legislative process and if there is opportunity for us to jump in and offer our expertise and our support. And so it can be helpful for us to just get, we're looking to, I'm trying to remember our last meeting, we're looking to approve these changes today, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So the two that in our conversations, we are bringing to you all as a commission today to consider adding to our bills to watch section. First is one that came up in the previous legislative session, which is around the requirements for licensure for social work and supporting changes to licensure at the master's level. So once a social worker gets their master's degree, being able to, my understanding is, achieve licensure without the completion of removing the requirement for the social work licensure exam, which among licensure exams has a particularly concerning track record for discriminatory outcomes on the basis of race and other marginalized identity experiences. And so we're particularly interested in this bill, given the number of people within our communities who rely on support from social workers for accessing mental health care, as well as care and case management services and other resources. And so towards the commission's goal of increasing healthcare access for our communities, the policy committee moves forward that favorable bills to watch recommendation. The second is supporting legislation to prohibit or phase out 287G immigration enforcement agreements in Maryland, which are federal collaborative agreements between state policing or local policing agencies and immigration and customs enforcement, which we believe as a policy committee also has particular relevance for our queer and trans immigrant communities in the state, and making sure that jurisdictions across the state are safer within the current context as much as possible. And so I am going to pause there, I think. Am I missing anything, Director Browning?
No, I think you gave an excellent summary of those two additions.
Great. And so I see a comment in the chat from Commissioner Chang Sun about at the moment having the opportunity to publicly advocate for emergency measures on for folks affected by the SNAP freeze shutdown and expiration of healthcare subsidies. Definitely agree with that and the importance of it, and defer to Director Browning, as that might be a separate action from the one that we're talking about taking with this vote.
So I think, I mean, it's up to the commission how they want to proceed. So I may actually, I think if there's consensus to add an additional item, I don't think we have to have a separate vote. But I will defer to you all, the body, to decide, how, if you'd want to add another item to this list. We do have an opportunity to, we just approved the meeting schedule earlier, so there will be another meeting just before the legislative session starts in January. So this is just kind of a blanket statement for any other items that the commission should consider. So we have, it can be added tonight, it can be added in January. So that's up to the body.
Thank you for that, Director Browning. I think I will circle back to Commissioner Chang Sun's comment in a moment after Commissioner Russell.
Actually, I was going to ask whether or not this was a good time to propose something to watch for legislation. So I will reserve my proposal until we've decided whether we're adding things to this list or discussing it at a later date.
Well, I don't want to speak for Chair Caballero, and at the same time, I think the policy committee would be amenable to changes to this at this moment, particularly if they require more lead up time. I suppose having the commission's discussion and input on it sooner rather than later is helpful as we prepare for the session. And so perhaps, I guess, would the chair be comfortable with me facilitating potential amendments to this for this part of the meeting?
Go for it, Vice Chair Pease.
Great. Okay. So I think, I guess I'm kind of just going out here. Is there any objection here to considering amendments to this, Director Browning, or from any of the commissioners?
Okay. It could just be this like a process thing if we want to, I can add even just on the screen here so folks can see sort of like what we're adding. Is it under
yeah, I think that would
bill, we could add the bill number, but if not, we can just add another bullet point. There's also the sheet that's before you. There's also the larger document that was created back, the 2024 policy priorities recommendations, that was sort of A to Z. So
right.
The list that we're adding to now is bills that we expect to come back or to be introduced in the upcoming legislative session. It's by all means not the full breadth of every area that really needs advocacy and support. So I just wanted to add that because I know this discussion we could talk about any number of issues that are not on this list. So these are specifically where we think that there may be a bill introduced in 2026. For sort of broader issues, we could add them to this, but it may be the policy committee meets next week. We could add it to the policy committee meeting agenda to see, like, we need to update that broader document at some point. So yeah, so I think either way is fine. Just trying to give that a little bit more context on sort of why there may not be every single issue on that.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's important. And I think with with the emergency measures around that are being brought up in the chat about navigating SNAP freeze, shutdown, and expiration of healthcare subsidies, it sounds like that doesn't fall under a specific bill. And at the same time, I think it potentially deserves attention from the policy committee as an agenda item for maybe we can discuss it as a statement, given that we've done something similar in the past. And I don't think we need a whole motion to direct the policy committee to take that on. But I wonder how that, I'm just discussing out loud, but Commissioner Chang-Sung or Director Browning, if you have other input in relation to kind of what I'm workshopping out loud here before we go back to Commissioner Russell.
Lisa and Jen speaking. This is a proposal that we could use our position as the commission to be advocating both with the executive branch, because we do have a direct line to the governor's office, and with the legislature. Once they come into session in January, though I think we should not wait that long. I think we can bring this to the governor's office now to implement at least some of these measures to protect people, because Hogan did it previously. And I think if Hogan did it, Governor Moore certainly can. And we really cannot be affording to wait, because people are not getting their SNAP payments now. And should not have to be choosing between eating food or making rent, for example.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I think with that, I am thinking about, well, maybe we do the update, because I think that maybe needs more a separate action then, and maybe we handle the legislative priorities first and then offer a separate motion directing the leadership of the commission to engage in immediate advocacy on the points that you're bringing up. Would that feel in line with what you're proposing, Commissioner Sinchen?
This is Lisa and Jen. Yes.
Great. Okay, so I will start then with move to Commissioner Russell and your potential addition to the legislative priorities.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So the issue that I would like to raise is the chair of the Maryland Freedom Caucus, Delegate Matt Morgan, has openly expressed multiple times his intent to file a bill that would examine how the state allocates funding to nonprofits and to which nonprofits, which is an action that I believe the federal administration has started to look into doing, if not actually started to do. So I'm not sure of a bill number, but I am confident that a bill with that type of intent will be filed. And I would propose that we maybe list it under unfavorable to watch, or whatever that title there is.
This makes sense. And I think the policy committee would be supportive of that action. Director Browning, I know that unfavorable just also has combat all anti-LGBTQIA plus bills and policy proposals, including the ones that are listed explicitly. I'm curious if, in your opinion, it would be better to wait until we have a bill that exists to add it to this, or to and just take a note on it for now that we talked about it in this meeting, or to take an explicit action as a full commission to add that, even if it's covered under combat all anti-LGBTQI plus bills.
I'm fine either way. I mean, I think we could add it under the unfavorable bills to watch explicitly, or unfavorable bills. And then once if it is filed, we'll definitely add the bill number to it. So we could just try to make this a little more, like I could create another and just add it.
Yeah. I don't think we have an unfavorable bills to watch on the document yet, so maybe just add it to unfavorable so that we don't have to make a new heading.
Sure.
That feels good. And then Commissioner Russell, do you have any language for how to describe this bill in the document?
I would suggest maybe something about scrutinizing nonprofits that are related to LGBTQIA initiatives or the LGBTQIA community.
Is
Yeah,
Bill
I do see what is listed there, bill targeting that. That is also good. I'm
Because
good with that.
I may recommend using more broad language because I doubt the bill will be as brazen to specifically name the groups that they're trying to eliminate the funding to.
Very true.
okay? Any other discussion or amendments to the 2026 legislative priorities specifically relating to bills, favorable to watch or unfavorable? Hearing none, I'll move on behalf of the policy committee that the commission adopt these 2026 legislative priorities. Is there a second?
Just point
Oh.
of order, I think the Chair Blinder
Oh, okay.
then
I'll
take
just
over and call and ask for a motion, and then you could make the motion.
I'm happy to entertain motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Chung Sun and Commissioner Russell.
Can so the motion is to what Commissioner or Vice Chair Pease stated just a moment ago. Okay.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we can go ahead and reflect our votes. To do so, you'll put your green check mark for yes or yay, the red X for no or nay. And to abstain, you'll select no vote. Okay, I believe this has passed unanimously. And if everyone can go ahead and clear out their votes, that would be so appreciated. So we'll have a clean slate. Thank you, everyone. I think almost everyone has cleared out their votes. All right, and next up, I believe we have our legislative reception
Oh, wait, point of
section.
whatever thing, it would be, Chair Blinder, it would be your discretion, but with the conversation on the legislative priorities, I would
Oh, sorry,
suggest
yes, you
potentially
wanted,
entertaining a motion from Commissioner Sinchen regarding directing the leadership of this commission to advocate on the stuff in the chat if they would like to make such a motion, but it's up to you.
correct. Yes, no, I appreciate that. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I would entertain a motion to yes, public, yeah, exactly what Commissioner Chung-Sun placed in the chat. At least we need to review all of that, but I know some people might be in transit, so I would say their words were, at this moment, we have the opportunity to publicly advocate for emergency measures like those taken in 2020. Examples are eviction freezes, utility shutoff freezes, and so on, to protect people affected by the SNAP freeze, shutdown, and expiration of healthcare subsidies. LGBTQ+ people are more likely to live in poverty and experience unemployment, food security, and housing instability. I would be very willing to entertain a motion for the executive committee to, and the director and special assistant to advocate with the governor's office for such emergency measures.
I make that motion.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kennedy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Can we clarify the motion? Is this, I'm gonna put it in the chat.
I think the second was Commissioner Russell, and then I'll return to the chat.
Did I capture that correctly from what was in the chat already?
This is Lisa and Jen. Yes.
Thank you so much. And any further discussion on this point? Okay, seeing none, we can reflect our votes. The green check mark for yes, the red X for nay, and selecting neither to abstain. Okay, this has passed unanimously. Thank you all so much. Please do clear out your check marks so that we'll have a clean slate. And thank you again, Vice Chair Pease, for making sure we didn't miss this point. And particularly to Commissioner Chung-Sun for your attentiveness to make sure that we can utilize our positionality. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Director Browning for a discussion on the legislative reception.
So thank you. So I know this has been a busy meeting with a lot of items. So this, I think, is a fairly simple discussion item. It's something we've talked about the last few cycles. So we're starting early this year. So essentially, we're looking and hosting a roughly 2-hour legislative reception somewhere near the State House early on in the legislative session. So that would be at the end of January or early February. The purpose would be to bring together commissioners, General Assembly members, other advocates and community leaders to share our priorities that we just voted on. So at this stage, we don't have a budget, but I'm pretty confident that we can find free space, perhaps even some donated refreshments of some kind, and that basically we just need a space where we can come together and share what our priorities are. So essentially what we're looking for is and this is something that we've been discussing with the policy committee, that this is the will of the commission, and then staff will work with the policy committee to plan it. We will probably have the January meeting before, but I don't think there's necessarily a whole lot to vote on after that. But so if this is something that the commission is interested in, myself and Taylor and our special assistant Harrer and the policy committee would put this together. And I'm happy to answer any questions. All right, hearing none, I'll hand it back to you, Chair Blender.
Thank you so much. I would certainly entertain any motions to proceed with, well, I guess we don't have to, do we have to vote to create exploratory conversation or?
Yeah, sorry, the conversation would be if there were questions, like now, if there are questions about the legislative reception, why we were doing it. So if there, I see there's Commissioner Neera has her hand, but so if it sounds like a good idea, then I'd say we vote to explore moving. I'm confident that I think we can pull it off even without a budget or a very small, expense that we may be able to get from our meager budget, but wanted to kind of leave it open to our what if we don't end up not having capacity. It's sort of we're not that this is just like, hey, if we can do it, great. Commissioner Neera.
Thanks, Trey. Brandon. I guess the question I have is, do we even need to have a motion to do this, or we can just simply say that based on what just happened, that there weren't any further questions, that it's consensus of the committee to have you investigate, the feasibility of putting this together, and then come back with an actual plan, and then we would then vote on a particular plan to say, do we want to do it, yay or nay?
I believe part of the challenge might be the timeline.
Yeah, so if we wait till our January meeting, we'll only have about 2 weeks from when we're targeting to try to do it. So, and maybe what I wrote here was a bit confusing. So I apologize for that. So I think, the plan is essentially to have a roughly 2-hour event where we're going to invite like the caucus, the General Assembly members, advocates, community members to come and learn about the priorities from the commission. But yeah, we probably, by the time we have all the sort of details, or it'll be like 2 weeks, till the event. So it might be challenging to like then be like, oh, just kidding, we're going to pull it back. But
I mean, I just, appreciating the timeline. It's just, we're going to have a motion to say, hey, this is a good idea, go look into it. That seems like that's kind of, a bit pointless when we really can't vote on something until we actually have the details. So I think there's consensus to go get the details.
okay.
And then go ahead and do it, because we have confidence that we'll be able to pull it off. But what does that look like? Because say that we can only find a very small venue with donated potato chips and soda, and I'm obviously being intentionally pointed, is what kind of message does that type of reception send for the viability and feasibility, and credibility of a commission in engaging with community leaders and legislators about important events?
Right, that I understand what you're saying. So that makes sense to me, and things, but we'll have our first meeting of the year right before session starts, and a lot of stuff, there actually is some benefit to, I mean, a lot of things get planned very quickly. I think if we have sort of like the idea of what the plan is, And then if it's 3 weeks after that date or something, then we can certainly like move forward with it and advertise it. But a lot of these things will pop up and it's like a 2-week notice. Or I mean, there are rallies that pop up with 2-day notices. So I understand what you're saying, and I think we can make that work.
Commissioner Russell?
Thank you. I definitely am in favor of the idea. And I think, would it be possible, I have confidence that you could pull off a nice event and it would, go over well and be a great opportunity. But would it be possible to just see if it seems like we have consensus among the commissioners that this is a good idea to move forward with, then because we're not meeting in December, maybe it's just via email, like, hey, here are the details. Are there any objections, or just to inform everybody of what's going on before we wait until meeting in January. Does that make sense?
Yes. So do we even need a vote in January then? I guess maybe is the question.
I guess I wanted to offer that, I completely understand your concerns, like Commissioner Neera, around not putting on such a show maybe as other folks might experience. I will say I've been to a variety of these type of ones, and some of them are not extraordinarily fancy. I do feel confident, yeah, that our presence in this space and our presence in hosting such an event, it's not guaranteed what kind of refreshments will be at these sorts of things. And I would imagine that folks who want to support us will do so, and might even have an understanding of our budgetary concerns. But I will say the ability to get legislators to come would include messaging in advance sometimes, and securing a date. So I would encourage us to consider that, yes, although things do happen quite short notice, that it might be advantageous if we can figure out during this meeting how should the pieces come together, as in, like, we can find a space and find at least something to offer folks within that space that we would then be able to have an event. Other ones I've been to, I think, like, the free things were, probably under $200 worth of things, and that were related to this community. So just wanted to put that out there.
And just to lift up Commissioner Neera's comment and about partnering with the Maryland LGBTQ plus caucus, and we have regular meetings with them. We have discussed a potential partnership, or us partnering on each other's events, since they have a whole list of policy priorities as well. It's not a bad thing to have multiple events, but we're very much interested in partnering with them.
Vice Chair Pease, you did have your hand up at one point. Did your question get answered?
I was going to say something similar to Commissioner Russell, that I trust Director Browning to explore, potentially plan something. And if it's looking like it's not going to be a good thing, to then not proceed with that thing, given your work before. So, I mean, whether I guess, like, on the topic of, like, if a vote feels necessary for this, I'd defer to you on that, because I feel like, as others have said, there's kind of consensus. Like, I would personally, and I think the commission would agree, in trusting you to go forward or not go forward if things weren't working out. So, because planning an event can be complicated. So I would defer. I don't know if that makes sense or if that's helpful at this point, but
Would, how would folks feel about if there was a motion to move forward with the planning and, staff keep the commission apprised of the details and invite, feedback throughout the process? Something like that. See a lot of thumbs up.
Do we need to take a vote on that?
I'd see their consensus, so I can just note in the minutes that there is consensus on moving forward with the planning.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone. And I believe Director Browning, you are also leading this next section.
Yes, thank you. So we've had our committees and work groups have been very busy this fall. So one of our work groups is a communications work group. So now that we have more, we've clarified our roles within the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. They are fine with us having our own communications. So that would include a newsletter, an email newsletter, and a few select social media accounts. So that work group has been working on a draft communications policy and strategy, and this is a draft document. My goal for tonight was just to share it with everybody and ask for your feedback when you have time to review it. The communications work group will meet again. Our hope is to have something ready to present at the January meeting. But essentially, this is a new area for us, and I want to make sure there's transparency in how how we're operating our communications, not only with you all as commissioners, but also with the administration, so they know what we're planning to do, and we can address any concerns there might be. It also gives us an opportunity that want to make sure that we're doing everything in line with state policies and laws. So we've borrowed the we're using like the social media policy on the governor's webpage, for example. So there are a number of things that we have to think about. The draft that was linked in the materials is essentially what communications channels we would have, how we would be using them, sort of who speaks when, how decisions are made. So this is sort of our first pass on this. So if you all could just take a look at that and provide any feedback you have, I'd say probably by the end of the month, if you could do it by December 1st. And I'll send that as a reminder. We don't have the next communications work group scheduled yet, but that'll likely meet in early December. And we'll just work on getting that up and running. But the goal is to have our newsletter and social media accounts up and running in January, in time for the legislative session. So, it's this exciting opportunity for the commission to increase the visibility of all of our work. Even not having it, we've been able to, get like the survey out and things like that, but this will just expand our reach. So I wasn't intending for us to kind of go through the document right now and kind of line by line, but really just inviting feedback for the communications work group to consider. And anybody that's on the communications working group, if you wanted to add anything, feel free to add. Otherwise, I'll open it up to questions. So there's no vote needed here, and if there are no questions, I will pass it back to Chair Blender.
Thank you so much, Director Browning. And I know that this has been a busy meeting, and the time changes occurred, and some folks were at Pride yesterday. So yeah, really appreciate everyone's care and attention through this. This is now our open forum for any announcements or comments. I believe Commissioner Doan might have some comments here to offer, and then certainly anyone else who wants to share about an upcoming event or something that's going on with your other organizations that you all work so hard to work on. Now is the time to share, and I'll go ahead and turn things over to Commissioner Doan.
Thank you, Chair Blinder. So I don't know how many of you know that the Hartford County Board of Education voted to remove Flamer from age-appropriate libraries in our public schools. Together We Will, which is a local nonprofit group, worked to file an appeal with the State Board of Education, and last week we received word that we were successful. So this is the first time the Freedom to Read Act was used, I believe, in the state of Maryland, and it was for an LGBTQIA plus book. So short victory, because within a day we heard that the state board, or that the Hartford County Board of Education was possibly planning to appeal the state board's decision. So they are actually hosting a special Board of Education meeting on Thursday, a virtual meeting of this week, to discuss their possible response to this. And they are entertaining receiving external funding to possibly for possible legal fees associated with this. So if you know anybody in Hartford County and they are not aware of this, if you could please help spread the word. We're trying to get a lot of written response into the Board of Education so that they understand that this is not something that most people in Hartford County are interested in. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Doan, for all of your and the many individuals and organizations hard work on this issue. And yeah, the work does continue. If anyone else has something that they would like to share, this is the time. Commissioner Russell.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Pride Southern Maryland yesterday and say thank you to Chair Blender for coming down and attending the event. It was a tough year for us this year. We rescheduled our original date, similar to what happened with Annapolis Pride. We ran into some weather. And so our event, while I think was not quite as large as it has been in years past, was still pretty well attended. And we were fortunate enough that the majority of our vendors and entertainment and et cetera were able to move to our new date. So very thankful for that. And once again, it was another year where I heard someone say it was their first Pride, which is amazing that, that can be said for a Pride festival celebration that's being held in a more conservative, tough area for our LGBTQ plus community. So just wanted to celebrate that, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations again. I know it is so challenging when the dates have to move. I know Howard County also had to move theirs that same weekend, although those dates moving meant that I was then able to attend both. So it was wonderful to get a chance to be with y'all yesterday. And anyone else have any announcements to share? Any brief joys, or not brief joys, I suppose, that someone would like to share would also be warmly welcomed.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is not a brief joy yet, but did anyone, I'm sorry, I joined late, so it might have come up already, but did anyone already talk about the survey closing on December 1st? Okay, then I guess I should share a small joy. I saw a concert in Montgomery County at a very small venue called The Garage, and it's a very cool place. It's like on a farm. I got honey there, and the music was really good, and that was joyful.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Pease. I love that you were able to have some joy and engage in some nature time on the farm. All right, y'all. Looks like we might be able to give folks just a little bit of their time back. And Commissioner Bryan, the book is called Flamer.
Yeah,
Oh, there we
got
go.
it. Now I know
Great.
the book you're talking about. Yep.
Yes, yes. I'll keep my remarks brief. Thank you all so very much for all of your time, attention, for your trust, voting myself in as chair for this upcoming year. I will do my best to serve you all and to be attentive to both your and our community's needs. We have proven ourselves to come through some of the fire of this last year, and we're tired but ready to undergo whatever this next year brings up for us. So thank you all. Please do take such good care of yourselves. It is so important. I cannot emphasize it enough. When folks burn out, then we have to go and reinvent the wheel. All of that knowledge and connections and networking get lost. So please take care of yourselves and one another, as I know you all always do. And thank you again for everything that you're doing for our communities. It is a pleasure to serve you all and to serve with you all. Thank you. And our meeting is adjourned.
Take care, everyone.